Hey everybody, it's time for Story Time with Dave. I'm Dave. You know, this is the holiday season, and one of the things I am most grateful for during the holiday season is a chance to be together with family. Now, I don't know what your plans are this holiday. I don't know, are you going to have some family over? I know even with COVID, I'm hopeful that we're going to get to see a couple of our family members, and it's just so great. But one of the things that's really difficult about the holidays is that some people don't have a family. There are some boys and girls who don't have a family. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but that's actually my story. I didn't have a family when I was born. I was born on September 2nd, and I didn't have a family. I was just all alone in the hospital until the state of Ohio, where I was born, found me a mom and a dad. And they did. They found Bob and Kay Tieche, and I got to go home with them on November 17th. It was a huge day. We still celebrate it. They call it Gotcha Day because it was the day that they got me, and that was the day I finally found a forever family. And I believe it wasn't just an accident, and I believe it wasn't just the state of Ohio that was working. I believe God actually gave me my mom and my dad. It was his gift to me to make sure that I wasn't alone. Just like God gave you your family to make sure you wouldn't be alone. Well, my buddy Josh and I, we actually had this similar situation. He was in foster care and I was adopted. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we wrote a book about that topic, about people who don't have a family? So we wrote a children's book called No Matter What. That's right, I wrote a book. I wrote a children's book about this very topic. It's a story about a little squirrel named Josh who doesn't have a family and works to finally find a forever family. So, can I go ahead and read the book that I wrote with my buddy Josh to you guys? Can I please read the book? Woohoo! Awesome. Okay, I'm going to read it. It's going to be great. So fun. This is, it's called No Matter What, a foster care tale, and is written by my friend Josh Shipp and me, and illustrations by Yuliya Pankratova. All right, here we go. One day, Grace was soaring over the river when she spotted a young squirrel crying. Grace glided down. "What are you doing out here all alone, Josh?" she asked. "Let's find you a family, shall we?" She started with the pelicans, but they smelled too fishy. And then to the porcupines, but they felt too prickly. Next to the kangaroos, but they were too hoppy. "He's a squirrel," said Mr. Kangaroo. "He needs to learn about trees and climbing." So Grace swooshed him over to the leopards. At night, the leopards would go looking for food. In the dark. Josh was afraid of the dark. "Ha ha, look, he's a scaredy cat," taunted one young leopard. "More like a scaredy squirrel," said another. "No one's ever going to want me," Josh thought. And when it was time to go to bed, Josh followed the leopards up their tree. But on the way, he spotted a small, squirrel-sized hole, a place he could be alone. Right then and there, he decided, "I'll crack them before they crack me." When the leopards woke up, they were furious. "Who ruined our coats?" they roared. "Oh, that? I was just playing a little game of connect the dots," Josh said. "That's it. I'm sorry, but you cannot live here," Mrs. Leopard said. 5 days to crack the leopards. Josh was determined to spend even less time with the next family. Grace took Josh from the bats to the monkeys, and from the otters to the snakes. Josh even tried to break his record of 5 days, but it didn't make him feel any better. Grace knew about the trouble Josh was causing, and she had an idea. "Josh," she said, "I have just the family for you." "Not interested," said Josh, and with that, Grace picked him up and flew toward the Great Falls. "Josh, this is Rodney and Christine Elephant," Grace said. "And this is Josh." "Nice to meet you, Josh," Rodney said, and he stuck out his trunk. Weird. Am I shaking your hand or your nose? Josh asked. Both, chuckled Rodney. Oh, hey, what do you get when an elephant sneezes? You get out of the way. Lame, Josh said, trying to hide his laughter. Before Grace left, she turned to Josh. Please give them a chance. He tied their tails in a knot and put flamingos in their front yard and brought a skunk inside their house. But elephants are very large and very patient. Every night when they tucked Josh in, they would say, "Good night, Josh. We're glad you're here with us today, and we're glad you'll be here with us tomorrow." Tomorrow. That was the part that messed up Josh's plan. Luckily, Josh had an idea he knew would break through their tough hide and crack them. The next morning, Josh went to the clearing near the river. It was time for Operation Crash. This will make them get rid of me for sure. But Rhino was way faster than Josh thought. Josh was not a good swimmer. Worst of all, the river was rushing toward Great Falls. Help! It's Josh, cried Christine. Everyone to the river, bellowed Rodney. We have to get him out before he goes over the falls. The river rushed and gushed around Rodney, but his massive legs were anchored firmly as the lifeline of animals held strong. Rodney pulled Josh from the river and lifted him toward Christine. Josh didn't know what to say. Do you know what squirrels and elephants have in common? Asked Rodney. What? Asked Josh. We both have excellent memories, Rodney said. So here's something I want you to remember. No matter what you do, we love you, and we're not going anywhere. In that moment, Josh knew that someone would always be there for him, no matter what. A real family. Oh, hey, Josh said. What do you get when you cross an elephant with a potato? Mashed potatoes, Rodney laughed. Speaking of potatoes, let's go home and have some dinner. Dinner sounded good to Josh, too. But home? Home sounded the very best of all. The end. Now, that book was actually dedicated and written on behalf of Josh's parents, who adopted him, Rodney and Christine, who were the elephants in the story. The point is that when God gives us a family, it is such a good thing. And this holiday season, make it a point to say, I'm so glad that you're part of my family. And I think it would be great if you let your family know just how grateful you are for them. Sometimes it's just as simple as a big hug and say, I'm so glad that you're my cousin or my brother or my sister or whoever it is. That would be a good thing to do. And I hope that you have a great holiday season with your family. Thanks for having me in your house, and thanks for allowing me to read this awesome story during Storytime with Dave. Until next week, I'll see you later.